Alright, let's go ahead and start on the Glass tab. We didn't have time to finish that in the last video that covered these last handful of tabs here, but that's okay because we need to talk about this in a little more detail. The first thing to know about the Glass tab is when you click on it, it's going to show you the hash marks of glass, of where the glass will go in the elevation. So it hasn't assigned the glass yet because, or we haven't assigned the glass yet because it doesn't have any letters indicating what type we've assigned. So it's just showing you if there were glass, this is where it would be. And before we get into these settings down here, let's look at the Glas Table. The Glas Table is your global list of glass parts. So it applies to all the catalogs that you have access to. It's always the same list, and when one person changes it, it's going to be that way for the next person that uses your computer. Now, if you put your master file on the network and share your catalogs, you can do that, and it will just be the same glass list for everybody. So whoever's logged into the program will have access to this one glass list. And basically, these glass ID numbers are a unique number that's assigned automatically to each part. And as you add new parts of glass, a new number is assigned. So you can't change that, but it is a fixed number that you know, for this one piece of glass, it's never going to change unless you change the description or delete it. In that case, number 7 wouldn't be available anymore. You wouldn't see it in the list, even if you add new records. So that's kind of how that works. So you want to go through the list, check the settings, like whether it's insulated or not, type in the correct thickness. You'll notice some here are 0, so you're going to want to correct that. But this needs your attention because you want to make sure you have your cost pricing here of per square foot, any minimum area. So if I hit edit here, I can click on these drop downs. Like here's the labor code. Labor code's important if you want to use the labor feature in the program, and it needs a labor code to be able to figure out, like this is 1/4 inch, so I'm going to put up to 5/16, to figure out the glazing cost for this type of glass. So if it didn't see a labor code, it's going to look at the thickness. If it didn't see a thickness, I believe it'll default to 1/4 inch. So you do want to go through your Glas Table and kind of go over all this information, make sure it's all accurate. So you can put a supplier name in here. That basically helps you select it from the list because you can filter by supplier if you want, and then pick glass based on that one supplier. So a discount quantity would be something that we're going to use in the future, where if you get a discount if it's over 2,000 square feet or something like that, the program would prompt you or look at a discount value that you've entered somewhere else. So we'll keep that, or we might even have to add it to this screen where what's the discount if it is over that. So that's something that will come down the road. And the minimum block size, that is in effect right now. So if it's a 5-foot square minimum for a certain type of glass, and the program's calculating a 3 square foot piece of glass, then it's going to price it as if it were a 5-foot square. So that's going to give you the correct pricing on your glass report. So that's important. So once you've gone through the Glas Table, make sure everything's good, the pricing, the type, the labor code, the description, then this same list will show up right here in the same exact order. You can sort that list in the Glas Table by description, by thickness, and all that. And however you leave it in that Glas Table is how it's going to appear here. So that's helpful for knowing, you know, if you like it a certain way to show up here, then make sure it's that way in the other Glas Table, and it will be. So, and use this filter bar here. Like if I want tempered and I want 1 inch, then it's going to jump me right to those different parts that have that criteria. So if I want the tinted glass, I'm going to add it. You'll notice the actions over here. The action would be add, delete, or view. So in this case, I need to add my glass, and I can add it 3 different ways: by row, by light, or by elevation. So if I go ahead and say I want 1 inch tint tempered in the bottom row, I'm going to click my mouse anywhere on the bottom row of glass. Now when there's a door in place, the bottom row actually goes over the door, so that means the transom light is still the bottom row, the first row, because it's excluding the door. And that's just the way it works. So now the top row, if I go ahead and add annealed. Let's say I change this little T here to an A, and that shows me the annealed that are 1 inch. I'm going to go ahead and click the tinted annealed and click by row on the top row, and then that's just going to give me the two outside pieces, because this is considered row 1, not row 2. And now you'll notice the door light's not assigned yet, so I'm going to do by light, and I'm actually going to go back to tempered. I'm going back and forth here. But let's select that tempered tint, 1 inch, and I'm going to do it by light right here, and then it assigned the glass. I know it's assigned because it puts the letter on the drawing. So if I want to confirm what I've done, or just check out a piece of glass, I can do view by light, and let's say I click on my door light. So it's going to show me what type of glass it is. It's going to show me a code that we assign to it, which is something that we do based on kind of the matrix idea of the elevation, where bottom row is 1, next row is 2, this is the first panel, second panel, third panel. So a G is for glass, a DR is for door, and it's in panel 2, and it's a single door, so that light is just 1A. So then I think the 1 means it's 1 door out of, you could maybe have 3 doors in your elevation. The A is the first leaf. If it was a pair, there'd be an A and a B. So here, notice also you have your dimensions. This is the actual dimensions of your glass with the add to daylight included. So that would be whatever dimension shows up on your glass by elevation report, or even your final glass report, where this isn't the block size, but when it shows you your block size, it's basing it on this actual dimension. So that's how the view thing works. So now, if I needed to, you can't really view by elevation because it's going to default to a light, but you can view by row. I can go to this top row, and it knows that they're the same, so it's 1 inch tint, insulated, annealed. And that's just the description that was assigned to it. So if I needed to delete, I can delete by light. I can delete by the entire elevation just by clicking by elevation and clicking on any one of these pieces of glass, and it will delete all of them. And by light it's the same thing, only you have to pick up the actual piece of glass you want to remove and click on it, and it'll delete it. So let's delete this transom right here. And we know it's deleted because it got rid of the letter. So that's something our old version 14 program could never do. So keep that in mind. And however you leave these tabs here, that's the way they'll be. Like if I jump out of that glass tab and it shows me the framing material, notice how I've got my letters that show the glass types that I've assigned. When I jump back to here, I know that, or I see that it's left the same way it was when I clicked on the other tab. So it's still on delete and it's still on light. So just be aware of that. And I think I mentioned this too, but remember that also the type letter that's assigned here on the drawing is the first letter in the word of the type that you've selected. So keep that in mind, and that's about it for glass. Whoops. And if you you'll notice if you click somewhere that's not glass, it'll give you that message because it needs to see the glass in order to work with it, or it needs you to click on the actual glass in order to work with it.